Hello everyone, and welcome on back to another video. In today's video, we're just going to be doing some custom trees, a really simple and easy tutorial for these 3 types of trees you will find in my first light town. There's nothing too complicated about these. Every time I build them, I follow more or less the same basic structure, and I think they'll be super easy to share with you so you're able to construct them in your own world. Now, I do build a lot of these in survival, and the biggest thing is just these big oak ones will usually take more than a stack of oak leaves. So be prepared for a lot of oak leaves if you want to do these ones. But the spruce ones are super simple, and these ones as well. If you don't want to do any big fancy custom trees, just whip up these ones. Start adding these tiny little pieces to your world and they will add so much life and greenery without being anything that is too much work. Now, as well, I did just want to mention that I am using Jermsyboy's Better Leaf add-on, which is why the leaves are so fluffy. It adds in that little hint of the flowers. And I did just want to address that, as leaves are going to be quite a heavy inclusion in today's video. So jumping straight into the tutorial, we're going to start off with the big weeping oak tree. So I always start off with a base shape on the ground, where this one is going to be our center trunk. It has 1 diagonal root and 2 roots facing straight into it, opposing the diagonal root. And then we're going to bring this up 2, I think. We'll go like that, and then we'll bring it up again, so it's 6 high right there. And then I think we will take it forward and start adding our branches. So this is our base trunk, and then for our branches we're gonna add these little filler blocks. I should probably use actually some wool or something so it's really easy for you to see which ones are my filler blocks. So build that. And then we're going to go up 1 and add a 3rd diagonal piece. So this is a 3 long branch, and most of the branches in these trees when I do them are 3 long. So we're going to do that little piece there, and then we're going to bring one in just here as well on a diagonal and take it up like that. So then we have a branch that is 2 long on this lower level, up 1. 2 on this lower level but diagonal, and then up 1 on the straight, so they're a bit oppositional to each other. And then coming up the back here, because this tree kind of leans this way, we're just gonna do 2 for the back branch that'll kind of curve the tree upwards and cause it to flow over this way, but it will add a really nice lean to the tree itself. Now we're gonna come in here and work on the trunk. I'm thinking we swap this one here out and bring this in just to smooth out that little curve there. And then as well, we can bring this one up to emphasize the lean, add a fence in here, pick one of these at the back, usually opposing the lean to be the lowest, because the tree doesn't need as much support on that side because there's not as much branches and such over that side, whereas over here it needs a bit more support, so we're going a bit heavier on the base. And we can bring that up as well, but I'm not sure if that is a bit much. I think we do. Just do something like that, super simple. You can add in more little bits of fence and stuff around here, but it's just adding in and usually just trying to emphasize that the tree does need a bit more support on the side it is leaning towards. Then we come up, oh wait, we haven't done the branches. We can add 1 slab. I don't like to have 2 slabs next to each other. Usually I will add that lower slab on one of these 2 long branches on the section closest to the trunk. And then I will add a slab up there just so all the branches actually look kind of connected. And then as well, I will bring in a little fence piece, maybe up here, not there. And as well, another bit of fence right there, just to kind of connect all those branches up to the main section of the tree. And that is our trunk done. So just to cover that again, we started with that little triangle with a diagonal offset on the ground. We went up 3, went over 1, up another 2, and then we added the branches on the one above that where we have a 2 long and then 1 diagonal offset. one diagonal, second diagonal, and then one up but on the same line, and then these just little 2 diagonal pieces, or diagonal height pieces anyway, on that back side that opposes the lean of the trunk itself. Now coming in here to do the leaves, I always start with a really simple basic shape, just like that, where we leave out a corner on this one here and just make a little 3x3 square basically on top of the ends of each of these branches. And I'm leaving these corners here knocked out for now, just on these front 2, but I might bring those back in later. And then this back one, we will just fill in all 3 of them. So we have this basic little start for our leaf shape. Then what we do is we just connect these up like this. And the main thing with these trees is you always want this little kind of front face, the furthest out piece on either side, to be 3 or 4 long. So we'll turn that one into a 3. This one back here, let's see how this connects up. I think this one will be a 4 because of how long that is. And then that can stay a 3. And then we've got a 2 here as well, but that's going to be our long one. So we can do a 3 or a 4 with that, and then just fill in this center gap. How's that looking? No, I do think that will look better as a 4. So then we have this very, very flat base for our leaf building. Now on top, we want to build this up by 1. On the sections where it's a 4, you have the 2 out on the front of it and then come in. Do this so it leaves these kind of like little 1 sets of the diagonal in a few places, but it doesn't have to be everywhere. And just fill in that whole little upper section, and then of course go back through, fill in this bit. Now these can be pretty big, obnoxious, fluffy trees, so if you're not into that, I apologize, but that is what we are working with today. And then we just bring up a few tiny more bits, which I do kind of center first and foremost around where these little outward facing pieces are, with just these sets of diagonals. And then we come back through and just kind of fill in a bit more of that space to create something like that. I think is going to be really cute. There we are, and we have our little tree top done. And then the second bit we're going to be doing is bringing down the drapage, which is also, again, really super simple. So what you want to do is find a few bits and pieces and start bringing them down. So you go down by 3, leave a gap with a 1, down by 4, 1. Or I think there will work with a 2. So you're kind of doing this alternation of 3s and 4s on every second one for the long ones. So come in here again, this is going to be 3 down, this is going to be a 1, and then a 4 down here, just all the way along this outside edge. So again, a 2 there, a 3, a 1, a 4, a 1, a 3, how's that looking? See, then we come back and we go, I think that one could be longer there, we bring that down. So we had a 3, and then we'll offset that one with a 2, and then bring a 4 down, and then a 1. No, that one will be a 2 because we just don't want to expose too much of that wood. And then a 3, and then a 1, and then a 4, and then a 2. So there is our basic tree shape right there. And look at that, that is already looking really, really cute. And then what I will do is come onto these front faces and knock out a few bits just like that. So I'll do a diagonal in the ones that were initially those 4 faces, and I will make it so it won't expose the front of any of the branches, because you do have to keep an eye out for that. So if I were to do this and it were to expose a branch like that, I would just fill it back in and offset, change the direction I'd gone with it. And then over here we have a 3 face, so I will just knock out 1. I might even knock out the lower one of that, just to make it a bit more interesting, because it is a little lower down. And then this face will knock out the higher one to change it up. And then as well, if you want, you can come back in here and just add a little bit of offset to those straight lines that are hanging down on these front faces. So I think that is looking super duper cute, and we are almost done with this tree. Then we come on underneath, and our next problem is this flat inner section. So what we're going to do is just pick some spots, bring them down by 1, put a hole up. Bring them down by 2, put another hole in somewhere. Because you just don't want anything to be exactly the same height as what is next to it, basically. So we've got this segment here, we go up by 1 here, which means we have to go down, or we could go in by 1 there too actually, and then there. And then all those 4 are different heights from each other, which is exactly what we want. Break that in, bring that down. Over here as well, if we break something, bring something down, break something, and that is all kind of offset from each other, which is exactly what we wanted here. And then it just looks a bit fluffier and less uniform in on that inner part of the tree, which is exactly what we want. And if we do want to bring down some of these inner ones a bit more to make it feel even fluffier, we always can. And then the final step for these big fluffy oak trees is just to come in and find the ends of those initial branches. A chain and a lantern always make a beautiful addition to the ends of all of these. So we bring these ones in and then come around the back as well. We did have that little fence, so on the fence we won't worry about the chain. And there it is, we have our first little custom tree. Alrighty, next up we're going to be doing our little spruce tree, which is simpler and quicker than the big oak trees, but starts with a very similar base shape, which I do really like. So again, we do our little triangle with 1 diagonal and then bring this in a bit up. Now, there are 2 different trunk styles I do for these ones. So we can create our diagonal to showcase both, but we can go up by 4, across by 1, up by 3 on one of them. Or if you want a bit more of a lean, we go up by the same initial amount, but then up by 2, and then diagonal and over again and up by 2 more. So these ones will be a bit taller, but if you want it to lean over something or away from something specific, like it's kind of grown out of the side of a hill, these ones can be really nice. Whereas I find on flat ground, the straighter ones are a bit simpler and easier to do, and I think they're what we're going to be working with today. So we come in here and just start with our base work again, really simple trunks on these ones. And we do a slab on that one with a fence next to it. Over here, I'm thinking we could even just do a little step and then a fence on that one there. I think that works perfectly fine. Or we could bring in a little slab there. Yeah, that's really nice. And then another fence right in there. So that is basically our base work done. And then we just can come in and bring in a little stair as well. Might even do the stair there. I think that's a bit cute. We can do that. Something like that. Really simple. And then we want to start by just second down from the top, bringing 4 fences all the way around. Leave a gap, bring 4 fences all the way around. And then we can't really bring any more fences in lower, but if we change their positions, that's totally okay. So we can just start with something simple like that. Then what we do is come up to the top and bring 4 out on top of those fences, and then up by 3. And then pick 2 of the sides, never this front one that goes into the lean. We have 1 at the back of the lean, and then just 1 at a diagonal of that. So we have that little offset in the top, but that is the point of our tree. Then we just bring in some spruce leaves all the way around between these fences and then underneath them as well, which is our super simple top shape. And that's the really easy part of these spruce trees. It's usually fluffing out this lower section that I have a bit more trouble with, but what we can do is just come out like this and have this little shape right here. So out again, and it's this shape right here. So you end up with this 3x3 space in the middle and these 2 leaves offsetting of each other right here. So then we start with this little shape, this ring around the bottom, and then we just bring some leaves up diagonal from all of that. And then basically our tree is going to be done. And see, now we can look at this and say, oh, I don't think that works there because I want to put a leaf there. Because what we don't want is this flat face. I really don't like having that flat face of the two leaves right next to each other, so we can knock out that branch and just lower it down by one to bring it in there, and that works really, really well. And that is the basis of how I do these trees. And if you want to bring it down lower again, these ones really you can just play around with. You don't have to go all samey over and over again, but we can just lower down this section of the leaves if we want to cover over that base. But I do think it is a bit better just with that base exposed, that nice pop of the spruce down there, and I think that is a really nice, super simple tree as well. Alright, and last but not least, we're going to be just doing these tiny little trees. I think of these as complementary trees, where these bigger trees are really centerpieces. They're eye-catching, they draw attention, whereas these just complement other builds and fill in space really, really well. And if you're not already building them in survival worlds anywhere, you should be, because they are so light on resources, but they really add a lot to an area. And you can do them in either of the two leaf types, or of course birch, anything like that if you wanted to as well. So let's start straight off. We just build a spruce fence, go up one, and on the second one go out like this. Up one again, and then oppose the direction we went. So you're making this little cross, but changing it level by level, and you just do this as many times as you want for the height of the tree. Let's just start off with something simple like this. Then we get our oak leaf and just do the opposite cross to the fences. So these fences are across this way, and we want to bring in our leaves to the sides of that where there aren't any fences. Same again here, and same again here, and then to finish it off, we just put two on top of that final fence, and that is your tree. So easy, so simple, and really so cute. So let's just do another one, but in the dark oak and the opposite direction. Maybe make it a bit taller if we want to. We just do these tiny little crosses, up, 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 and then one on top. And you can really play around with this, but it is exactly the same simple formula every single time. And then we're just bringing in our leaves in any of these gaps between these fences here. And then on the top one, where there aren't any branches, we bring it out on top of the fences that were already there, and then two on top. And those are our tiny little trees, and they are so cute and add so much to any world. And that is basically my formula for all the custom trees I currently have in my worlds. I really hope you found this helpful and informative, and you enjoyed what I was able to show you today in terms of building these super simple, easy custom trees. And I cannot wait to hear from you in the next one. Bye for now.